first up, let's get you the very latest that's coming in from Israel right now. Remember, the situation there continues to be volatile. It's day 11 of the entire war. Now, what we do know is that there have been more airstrikes that have taken place earlier in residential areas in Gaza. On the other side, there is the concern of civilian casualties. We haven't seen too much of an evacuation that has been even allowed from the Rafah border in Egypt. So what does this mean? What does the geopolitics point towards? Remember, there are multiple variables in this. The US on the other side has also spoken about the entire situation, and it is also now referring to what many are saying could be a possible restraint by Israel. But will that happen or not? We do have our colleague Alicia, who's joining us live right now. Alicia, where are you right now reporting from? What is it that you can tell us about day 11? Is there any kind of de-escalation, or the situation continues to be very grim still?
Well, Dipti, we have been reporting from Kibbutz Berry, which is the worst hit area by the Hamas attack. I'll also speak to Lab, but let me show you the visuals, like how the buildings here were completely attacked. As you can see, there are bullet magazines, there are helmet of the Hamas terrorist, and the complete area has been cordoned off. We have been reporting with the Israel Defense Force, and what we see on your screen is the Hamas terrorists who enter the Kibbutz Berry on the 7th of October, and they have destroyed many of the houses of the people. There were more than 120 people who were killed. Not only this, but the children and the people were abducted from Kibbutz Berry, and it's the most hit areas been told by Hamas attack. I'll just ask my video journalist to show you the visuals in and around, while speaking to Lab also can give a better information about as far as the Kibbutz Berry is concerned. While we are also speaking, Lab, we've been hearing there are explosions, but this is a retaliation by Israel forces.
Exactly. What we hear now.
So there is an alert. There is an alert which has been given by. As you can hear, there are explosion which is been underway, and we have been reporting from Kibbutz Berry, and there was alert that was given by the forces, and there were some of the explosion that also happened. We'll just move. See, as you can see on the visuals, as you can see, there are explosion that has been the rocket that has been fired by the Hamas terrorist. It has been targeted here at the Kibbutz Berry, as you can see on your screen, where the Hamas terrorists been firing the rockets, which is now been intercepted by Israel. But visuals on your screen, it was targeted on the same location where we have been reporting. It's a Kibbutz Berry, which is known to be the worst affected from the October 7. Many people were killed, and you can hear there are explosion. हम देख रहे हैं फिलहाल कि यहाँ पर अब एक अलर्ट जारी की गई थी, और अलर्ट के बाद अब यहाँ पर जो है हमास टेररिस्ट की ओर से रॉकेट्स फायर की गई थी, और उसी रॉकेट्स के बाद जिसको इंटरसेप्ट जो है वो किया गया था। लेकिन तस्वीरें हम आपको यहाँ पर दिखा दें कि 7 अक्टूबर को जहाँ पर हमास टेररिस्ट के ओर से जो हमला किया गया था, उसके बाद कई ऐसी गाड़ियां जो है वो तहस-नहस हो गई थी। यहाँ पर बुलेट्स दिखाई देते हुए नजर आ रहे थे, मैगजीन दिखाई देते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। इतना ही नहीं, लेकिन कई लोगों का घर भी जलाया गया। 120 से ज़्यादा लोगों की जो है उनको मारा गया, कई लोगों को किडनैप किया गया, क्योंकि हमास के ओर से यही जो स्ट्रैटेजी रही थी कि लोगों के पीछे छुपकर जो है उनको हमला करने की स्ट्रैटेजी हमास टेररिस्ट की ओर से ली गई थी। लेकिन अब तस्वीरें भी हमने उससे देखी, वही लगातार हम आपको तस्वीरें दिखा रहे हैं। देखिए, ये जो बाइक दिखाई दे रही है, ये इसी बाइक से हमास टेररिस्ट जो है किब्बुत्स बेरी में अंदर आए थे, और वहाँ पर फिर हमास के जो टेररिस्ट है वो जो है लगातार लोगों पर हमला करना शुरू कर दिया था, कई लोगों को किडनैप करना शुरू कर दिया था। और हमने कुछ देर पहले यहाँ पर देखा, मैं एक बार फिर से अपने वीडियो जर्नलिस्ट सुंदर शाह को दिखाऊंगी जो तस्वीरें यहाँ पर कुछ देर पहले हमास टेररिस्ट के ओर से जो है रॉकेट्स फायर किए गए, और उसी रॉकेट्स फायर करने के बाद यहाँ पर जो हालांकि उसको इजराइल की ओर से इंटरसेप्ट किया गया, लेकिन हम यहाँ पर तस्वीरें देख सकते हैं कि कितने बुलेट्स जो है वो यहाँ पर अभी भी पड़े हैं, बुलेट मैगजीन यहाँ पर पड़ी हुई है, और पूरी तरीके से जो रॉकेट्स ऑलरेडी फायर किए गए थे उससे जो काफ़ी नुकसान है। और जैसे कि हम बता रहे हैं कि किब्बुत्स बेरी जो कि सबसे वर्स्ट अफेक्टेड एरिया बताया जा रहा है, लेकिन अब जो तस्वीरों में साफ तौर पर दर्शा रहा है, सब तस्वीरें साफ तौर पर दर्शा रही है कि किस तरीके से 7 अक्टूबर को हमास टेररिस्ट, देखिए यहाँ पर भी एक बाइक मौजूद है, इसी बाइक के ज़रिए जो है हमास टेररिस्ट अंदर आए थे और उन्होंने जो है लोगों पर हमला करना शुरू कर दिया था, लोगों को घर को जलाना शुरू कर दिया था। आपको बता दें कि हमास टेररिस्ट जैसे ही यहाँ पर लोगों के घर पे आते थे तो सबसे पहले उनका घर जलाते थे और लोगों का बाहर आने का इंतज़ार करते थे। तो जैसे ही लोग घर के बाहर आते तो उनको गोलियों से उनका जो है बौछार यहाँ पर शुरू कर दी गई थी और वो तस्वीरों में साफ तौर पर दिखाई दे रही है। देखिए काफ़ी अभी तक काफ़ी अफेक्टेड एरिया है जो हम देख रहे हैं तस्वीरों में भी। As we saw, there were explosion. There was rocket that was fired by Hamas terrorists, shot while from back, and we saw there were that has been intercepted by Israel. But what we see in our picture, as we see, there are magazines, there were cars, there were bikes, which is from which the Hamas terrorist has entered, and but now it was like more than 120 people who were killed. The entire house has been destroyed. Many people were killed, and many people were also abducted, including children. Lav is with me, who will give a better picture what happened on October 7th, because it was Hamas terrorists who first tried to invade the Kibbutz Be'eri, where we have been reporting from. It's a very worst affected area, and more than 120 people were killed and abducted.
Exactly, more than 120, and we do not know the exact number because some of them are inside Gaza now, and we don't know if they are killed or they are inside Gaza. Virtually, they entered inside. They captured the place. What we saw there is the motorcycles of the Hamas. They came here with their RPG. That's why we see here, what we see here is big blows, because they did not come only with shotguns. They came with RPG, and they took the place for like 8-9 hours. This place was occupied by Hamas before the Israeli army and volunteers came and took it back. Right now it is only under Israeli control. That's why we can be here. But the things that we see here in the kindergarten, here we have the polyclinic and the dentist that were here, the burned cars that we have seen, all of it is a product of the Hamas invasion into Be'eri, in which more than 120 people were killed, and maybe even more, because we still do not know who were killed and who were captured and are now deep inside Gaza.
Well, yes, sir. So visuals on your screen, as you can see, there were cars that was burned. Not only this, but a pharmaceutical, it's a pharmaceutical which has been completely been taken off, and that was a theory that was done by the Hamas, as we all been going with the vehicles. This is the same motorcycle from where the Hamas terrorists inside the Israel to the Kibbutz area, and from this vehicle they started firing to each and every people here. They burnt many of the houses, as also you can see there are bullets on road as well, because there were constant massive firing that was continuing by the Hamas terrorists. Still be the most sensitive areas, and we can see the condition of the car as well. And but what we saw that the Israel has been completely ready now, and they have been retaliating. Well, yes, now it has been completely occupied. You know, it was the first when Hamas terrorists came in, and many of the people have been killed, and it was completely occupied by the Hamas terrorists.
Completely.
But now it's an IDF who has taken over back, and there are people who have still been missing where the IDF has been looking for.
Yes, exactly. We have people inside Gaza. We do not know the exact number. We have like 200 names, but maybe there are names that we do not know. That's why we don't have the death toll, exactly the death toll. We know it is a terrible death toll. We know that what happened here in Be'eri never happened since the establishment of Israel in 1948. It was the first time. And even 50 years ago, in the 73 war, we did not see a situation in which a dozen of Israeli villages are simply occupied by Hamas. So now, of course, praise be, Israel is back. This again belongs only to Israel. Hamas is on the other side of the fence. Now they are on the defensive and we are on the offensive. But the trauma of places that about 1/3 of the dwellers were murdered, this is something that we don't know what will happen next. We don't know if they want to come back here after all the things. Here we have the kindergarten. we had.
We'll just show the visuals. Here's a kindergarten which has also been exploded, and where the rockets were fired. It was a playground. Alive is what you're saying?
More than 40 children were here, and we can see the holes inside. They simply got inside and butchered the children in part of the kibbutzim here around. So it is something very traumatic, but on the other hand, part of the unity that we are witnessing now in Israel is thanks to the Hamas brutality. Without this kind of brutality, I think for another decade or two, we would have had negotiations with Hamas, even giving them money.
Well, yes, thank you, Lav, for giving all this information. And as we know that we have been reporting from Kibbutz, and we will leave from this location. But I'll just ask my video journalist to show you visuals. What is the real condition of the Kibbutz Be'eri, who's been known as a very worst area hit on October 7, where the Hamas terrorists who came in with the motorbike, they invaded into motorbike. They have destroyed the entire pharmaceutical house, and we can see the condition now. Not only this, they burned many of the houses here, where and now what you see, there are magazines, there are bullet magazines, as well as the helmet of the Hamas terrorist, and the bullets, as you can see on your screen. So this was used by the Hamas terrorists to kill people, and we know there are more than 120 people have been killed, where many of the people were abducted as well.
Okay, you know, Alicia, you have brought to us a lot of these compelling and heartbreaking stories that again and again tell us that every war has its own cause. Now, the concern is that there could be a new front opening up in the north. We've heard some very strong comments that have come in from Iran that has said, do not think that we are a sitting duck and we would not respond to provocations. Now, many believe that Hezbollah again is a proxy of Iran, and Hezbollah has also been trying to provoke. What is your sense of what possibly could happen in the north, and could we be looking at an escalation from here on now in a multi-front war then, Alicia?
Place that is well further side. But what we have been witnessing is just Israel is just waiting for the civilian people to be evacuated, because Israel had made it very much clear that the civilians are not their targets, and they have been given 24 hours of ultimatum for the people. Not only this,
civilians are not their targets, and they have been given 24 hours of ultimatum for the people. Not only this, but 3 hours of safe passage was also been made to the people. But there are still people who are being hiding, because they are still there, because Hamas terrorists don't want those people to come back to the safer side, because Hamas terrorists is been using only one strategy, that to hide behind the human. They have been taking a human shield, and which is why Israel is some of the either way they are being toned down, but not going to a complete invasion. But yes, what we see on our screen is a clear message that the areas that were taken by the Hamas terrorists has been occupied has been taken by Israel, because we saw there are thousands of Merkavas, there are thousands of tanks, small tanks, which is being moved towards the Gaza city, and Israel has made it very much clear the war that has been started by Hamas is going to be ended by Israel. We'll slip into a very short commercial break. On the other side, we'll show you the ground visuals from Kibbutz Be'eri, which is known to be a very most affected areas, and 120 people have been killed, but now Israel has been taken over the entire area. Stay tuned.